suffering be dispelled. Let all pain and suffering be dispelled. Yeah, when I saw the title just now coming up on the thing, Personal Progress Accelerator, I think, oh, that's a good name for something. I'd like to use that. And then I realised it was me who made it up. It's a good name, isn't it? Personal Progress Accelerator. I love that. It's quite sort of marketing-y, sort of American-y, cool, slick thing. But actually, it's crucial because we don't want to be feeling like we're not getting the fullness of the adventure. We don't want to feel that we're only living a fraction of what we could be in terms of the moment-by-moment experience. And although the enlightened state, which is our natural state, occurs only by remaining present where we are right here, rather than constantly forgetting yourself and jumping in your imagination forwards all the time, or backwards. Completely forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What we're talking about, even though it's about being in the moment, because we're in motion, we need to have a sense of direction. It's only a game. You could just sit perfectly still where you are, and the planet would still spin at 1,000 miles an hour on its axis. It would still orbit the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. And that's a journey, that's a few billion miles in the course of a normal lifespan. You get on at one point when you concede, you get off at another point when you drop the body. Goodness knows why at those points. It seems like it's all written in destiny. When your number's up, and so on and so on. But who knows? But it's definitely a journey. It takes 200 million years for the solar system, i.e. the Earth, to orbit the Milky Way galaxy that we're in. It's a long time. So is it 200 billion or something? I can't remember. But you definitely go it's a few million in a lifetime. That's a journey. So you don't have to really do anything. You don't actually have to do much except survive, and you're on the journey if that's enough for you. And for people who have got greatly stoical natures and who are well-trained and willing to eschew grabbing at the excitement or the anxiety available in any single moment, that can be enough, and that can be a beautifully satisfying life. It's the same as if you were a monk or a nun in a Buddhist monastery, for example, and you just totally dedicate your time to pure being. It's very difficult for someone like me, I don't know about you, because I love the fruits of the earth. I think that's what we're here for, to enjoy them, but in a way that is harmonious rather than disruptive or destructive, and in a way that encourages everyone else to enjoy the fruits. And similarly, there are two schools of Taoism, well, as many as there's been lineages, but the two obvious ones are the ones who are into austerity and renunciation, and the ones who are into what I call wayward Taoists, like me. People who are on the way, and it's something like they've got to explore their fascination, and if there's a central drive towards something and it's harmonious to go there, because in there, if you stay mindful, you will find the Tao, as you would at any other juncture. The Tao loves it when we're in a state of rapture, because the Tao is us. The Tao manifests itself as us in the same way as in its nature form, it manifests as flowers, as daffodils or bluebells or whatever. It does this so it can experience itself as these different forms. Without the forms, it can't experience itself. And its nature is to experience itself, hence why it manifests from the undifferentiated form, the latent form, into the manifest form, this universe. And it presumably, it doesn't do it for a reason. It's not a person out and sit there thinking, right, and I'm going to do this next or do that. It's its nature, just a kabang. That's what existence does. It just bursts into being. Now, the idea that we have a direction, which we tend to think of as a linear direction, a linear path, I'm going from point A to point B, comes from a restricted way of thinking. It's helpful to a point, at least to start the conversation off. But when you consider that when the Tao manifests itself as a universe, from the very tiniest subatomic particle comprising the substratum of reality to the largest galactic cluster, everything is spinning, everything is in motion, and everything is spinning and orbiting. Everything, in other words, is moving circularly, not in straight lines. Hence why there's a Taoist, this is my version of a Taoist axiom, which is like you seek the straight line in the curve and seek the curve in the straight line. Everything is curves. It will come back to itself eventually. So the idea of cutting a linear sway through the circle is a very yang, very male way of seeing things. And it's natural, I suppose, or just to be expected, that we have this way as our general way, because we're just coming out of at least 5,000 years of male-dominated reality models. Excuse me, I've got the hay fever there. In reality, everything operates through circles, not straight lines, and therefore the idea that behind you is the past and in front of you is the future is useful from a certain point of view, from where we are in our linear setup. That's a useful kind of way to open the conversation. But the truth of it is that we sit in the eternal moment and we're surrounded by a series of ever larger concentric circles of energy filled with consciousness. So if you want something to happen in the future, you could see it as a straight line thing. It has a certain limited use. However, if you see yourself in the center of the series of concentric circles, and the thing that you want is, let's say, 90 days away from possibly happening, that thing is orbiting you, so to speak, in the circle that is 90 days away, 90 light days away from where you sit. But it's not just in front of you, it's going all around you, it's going behind you, to the sides and back around to the front again. It's orbiting you. So to try and move forwards in a straight line towards your goal, which is the conventional way, even for people who are so-called spiritual, this idea that I'm going forwards in a straight line to do. We even say it as a revolting expression they use in business or politics, going forwards. I find it incredibly ugly just because it's based on a total lie. There is no forwards to go to. You expand outwards until you're inhabiting the realm of that circle which carries the event or situation that you're intending to manifest. And hence why when you want to go faster, which is what today's theme is, when you want to accelerate the process of your progress, the Taoist way is always to do things back to front. So, for example, if you want to take a root, you want to take a weed out of the ground, if you just yank it straight up, you'll encounter the resistance of the strength of its roots. However, if you first push the weed deeper into the ground, that weakens the roots, and then when you pull it up, it comes up a lot easier. So if you want to get high, which is what we're all really on about, you go deep. You don't try and soar, you actually sink. If you want to go faster forwards, so to speak, you go backwards more. The idea is that by thrusting yourself backwards through, I was going to say time, but it's not time. It's like thrusting yourself backwards within the body at first, and then keep the body and the sense of your presence, rather, flowing backwards behind you, behind you, behind you, behind you. What this does, if you think about it, is it backs you up, and you get bigger and bigger as you back up until you're actually sitting all the way back on the circle. You're big enough to encompass the circle, which is bringing the stuff to you that you want. I'm not totally sure that I explain that as clearly as I've got it in my head, but it's the best my mouth will come out with at this moment in time. In other words, you're not trying to go forwards to accelerate the process. What you're doing is actually going backwards. And that's not just because you're being perverse. It's because by going backwards, you get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This, take my word for it, if you've not done satsang before, you'll see what I mean when we get into the meditation. And as you get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger by going backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards, you encompass more and more and more and more of these concentric circles. So you basically, the idea is we're going to thrust backwards, let's say 90 days worth. So we're going to thrust backwards 90 light days. In other words, we're going to get bigger by 90 light days, whatever that means, exponentially multiply, so that we each contain the circle that will be bringing us whatever it is we're going to set in motion by intending it. That's the schema of the magic we're going to do today. And it is magic in the sense of not, well, I'm going to say not a conjuring trick, but it is a conjuring trick. This world of manifest form is a world of illusions. It's a trick of the light, essentially. As any quantum physicist will tell you, even physicists will tell you, forget the quantum, this is essentially a dance of light going on. And conjuring is illusionism, is playing with that. Being a magician is, on a deeper level, playing with it. And it does respond to our intention. Some magicians will call it will. And the key is to clarify what your intention actually is. And it might not be as long as 90 days. There'll be something that you know, a stage that you want to reach, a scenario you want to find yourself in, which is perfectly achievable. It's not without the realms of physical possibility. It's probably, I would imagine, it's nothing grandiose. It's just the next step on the journey that might have felt like it's been stuck in a little slow to you for your liking. To accelerate that and find yourself like quantum jumping into the next expanded sphere of activity, influence, and so on. And it's a matter of getting quiet enough to actually feel what it is you really, really want to make happen, and be clear about it. I will give you my one as an example, but it's only as that. It's not to try and clue you into my life particularly, or sort of, it's not about sharing a story. It's just because it makes it easier for me to think about it. If I was a bit more whatever, I'd probably pick somebody that I've been working with and talk about their intention. But see, for me, I've just today, by tonight, probably by tomorrow afternoon in reality, we'll have finished 1,667 hours. That's a lot of hours. Solid, not messing around work on an EP, which without doubt is the grandest piece of music I've ever got to and done. And it's not about me, this, by the way. It's not. It's a project that you wouldn't necessarily know it's anything to do with me, but it's a very powerful, very beautiful project, and potentially could be a really important one. And my intention is that, having achieved that state now, this celebration moment of, wow, I actually did it, it worked, and it was amazingly difficult because it's a totally different sound and a whole different structure of stuff, but it's got to also sound, acceptable within the various parameters that exist. And so having achieved that, my intention, for example, is that over the next 90 days, I get this whole project going to all the people it's meant to go to, that there's enough energy around the release to make a noise so that then I can approach, or we can approach, the next lot of people that will then help us get the thing to the next stage, which is not just about music as a whole big sort of story around it. And to find myself feeling I have made progress. How lovely. I have spent the last 90 days making real progress. That's really pleasant. And I'm still here. I'm loving every minute of it. I'm healthy. I'm strong. I'm getting on well with all the people in my world. The world has not succumbed to a world war. The tidal wave hasn't come and swept us away. Everything is beautiful. And I therefore feel full. I feel filled with the blessings of life and imbued with joy at the deepest level. So that would be my intention. I mean, I specified it there. It doesn't have to be, but I just, I'm just kind of clear. That's what I want. It's achievable. I'm not actually looking for any great result. I'm just seeing that I'm at the stage where I'm now then in meetings with, talking to the next round of people that I need to talk to in LA and whatever else to make the next bit happen. It doesn't even have to happen. I don't even go that far. I just have to see myself. I want to be in that position because it'd be fun. It'd be fun. It'd be progress. And then that will make me feel full and beautiful and strong and happy and like I am now, but just more of it maybe. So take a moment before this is not us meditating yet, this is just thinking about it, to see what is your practical next step thing that you would like to make. What's your intention for the next short while? Where do you see it? And somehow describe it to yourself. Take a moment to do that. I feel like maybe I'll do a little chant while we're doing that. What should I do? Oh yes, I don't want to distract you, so you carry on thinking, but you know how in Taoism they don't suggest personifying the Tao. That's a sort of like a charged device. But if you do, if you feel the need to, see it as your mama. And well, I've always been very enamored of the various Hindu ways, and the Hindu gods, and Ganesha, the elephant god, is the one. It's the aspect of Tao or Brahma that deals with clearing obstacles away, so that anything blocking your path is removed. And that's the first thing we're actually going to do. Once you've got your intention, we're then going to go into clearing obstacles away. And Ganesha, if you chant various chants and you feel him, this kind of elephant god, the aspect of the divine sitting in your back, that's how you do it at the deep level. That's the basis of Raja Yoga. You become the god, rather than see the god outside you. And you say you embody this in your back and you chant, it clears the obstacles away. So while you're thinking about what your intention is for the next 6 weeks, 12 weeks or whatever, I will be doing the chant to Ganesha for all our behalf. Here we are. Om Gam Ganabadai Namaha. 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 So now, I think the time has come. Before we start the meditation, contemplate this as well. What is it in you, where is it in you that blocks you, or that makes you think you're not really entitled to have the fullness of this adventure moment by moment? Where is that bit of you that's trying to stop you? Where is it in your body? Which internalized parent is it? Which internalized teacher is it? Which internalized bully is it? Who is it inside of you who is saying to you, you're not really entitled to have the full deal here. You need to struggle and suffer. Just get a sense of what that is, or maybe that will reveal what sort of patterns are running that stop you enjoying yourself fully in each moment. Which part of it is you? What belief is it in you that makes you feel it's not okay to say and feel, I love being alive. I love this each and every single moment, including when you go to work, including when you're at work, including when you're arguing with people, including when you're suffering, including when you have pain, all of those times. What is it inside that stops you being able to open up and go, I love being alive? And furthermore, what I am is utterly beautiful. This being that is me is beautiful and magnificent and wonderful. Which part of it is of you that is it that stops that? Just have a little look at that. See where it might be in your body. Is it around the liver maybe? Is it around the spleen maybe? Is it around your kidneys or your buttocks or your legs or whatever? Just check where it might be, because now is coming the time to expel the residue of that stagnant chi from your orbit, to make way for whatever is in the circle that you're going to be manifesting 90 light days from now. Take a moment, this is our starting, take a moment to be in your body, occupy yourself. Become aware of your body, close your eyes and feel the chair you're sitting on or the floor you're sitting on. Feel your sit bones contacting it. Feel your sit bones urging towards the center of the earth, towards that burning, boiling iron that's as hot as the surface of the sun, 20 kilometers below your feet. And become aware that your body is this beautiful arena of experience, and it's at its highest is here to facilitate the Tao. It's having sensations, having experience of existence. It's a very sacred role to play. Get the sense of your body being that sacred arena. And notice where in your body you are most situated, where your presence has kind of gathered itself most. And then, if it's not there already, somehow or other, gather your presence as like a sheepdog rounding up sheep, and draw it respectfully but firmly down into your lower abdominal area. So let your pelvic bowl, the pelvic floor and the pelvic bones and the sacrum and the pubic bone be the receptacle, the house of you. Let yourself sit in there properly. Gather yourself there. You'll notice immediately you feel more collected naturally and more grounded, more earthed. Notice whether you are more in the front of you, in the front of your head, your face, your throat, your chest, and so on, the belly, pubic bone, and everywhere, or more in the back of you. Probably find you'll be more in the front of you. And be aware that you have this glorious back in which to rest, and allow yourself to sink back inside. So just let go of the front, let go of trying to stay in control of what's going on in front of you. And instead, just trust that reality will find its own way and that it will be benign. And so you can afford to sit right back inside. Sense the leaning into the shoulder blades in the front of the spinal column and the rear pelvic bones and the sacrum. Those are leaning back and down as well. Let the weight keep sinking. And inside the skull, let your mind rest in the back of the skull. Let your mind lean its back against the rear wall of the skull so that you're gazing into existence from way, way further back inside. And you'll notice now that you've increased your depth, your lateral depth by double, which is quite a lot. So there's more of you now, much more substantial. And you'll also notice that sitting in your back, you're more strong because the back is stronger than the front. you're more protected, a safer feeling, because the back is a lot less vulnerable and exposed than the front, and more silent because the back doesn't have any noise going on in it. And now all the noise that normally goes on in the front of you, the solar plexus, emotional sort of turmoil, and the closing down and tension around the heart, and the blocking of the throat, all that withheld communication, and all the conversation that goes on in the front of the brain incessantly, by which you describe reality to yourself based on a story you made up when you were 2 years old, probably. So fairly meaningless, yet what you live by most of the time. It all stops. Being in your back, all that noise stops, and you're powerful. Now you are powerful. So this is the starting point. From here, just give yourself a little bit more space inside the arena, as if it was a big top, and they could kind of hydraulically kind of stretch it up and out a bit to make it as full as it can possibly be. You get a sense of the crown of your head being winched up a bit, and the shoulders being pulled down and pulled apart from each other a bit, and your breastbone being pushed up a little bit, and you're suddenly bigger, everything bigger. And the musculature, which is normally used a lot and very inefficiently and with a lot of waste of energy, is holding you in some sort of relatively straight posture when you're walking or sitting, can now relax, because you can let the bones do it for you instead. So just let the muscles soften. You get a feeling of this golden elixir, like treacle, running down over the top of your head and over your face and your head. And wherever it goes, it relaxes everything, it softens everything, it soothes away all the blocks and all the tension. And you feel this beautiful golden elixir rolling over you, rolling over your face and the sides of your head, the back of your neck, your shoulders, your arms, the sides of your body, the chest, between the blades, down the back, down the belly, into the pubic area, the buttocks, the floor, the hamstrings and the quadriceps and the side muscles on the legs and the knees and the shins and the feet, did I say the arms and the hands, until this beautiful treacle stuff has just rolled over you. It's gone all the way through you. You're just feeling like treacle. Very, very soft and flowing, beautiful, very malleable, very flexible and very supple, and so much easier to roll with the circles, with the spiraling, circling motion of existence. You're one with it now. And you can actually feel the circles moving inside of you on a lateral plane and on a vertical plane. And there's sort of just energy circulating in all different directions around you in circles, as things do when they circulate. And the breathing. Allow yourself to stop holding your breath. Luxuriate in freeing up your diaphragm and allowing the breath to come in and go out without inhibition or block, and let the breath be smooth and silken and silent. And notice how your mind has become even smoother and more silent and more silken as a result. And the chest in the front there is this sort of cage that protects your heart, the energetic heart in the center of the chest, from the pain of betrayal and disappointment and so on. But we're going to address destiny in a different way, so that we can eschew the pain or the fear of the pain, and instead, with trust and boldness, allow ourselves to open in love to everything and everyone. And this means that we're going to open up a two-way connection, up and down the connection, love going out, love coming in. And love is not about being sweet or kind. It is. I mean, kindness and sweetness come from being in a loving state, of course, but you don't get to the loving state by contriving kindness or sweetness. It's merely about relaxing your chest and allowing your heart energy, chi, from the center of the core of your chest to radiate freely without blocks, and simultaneously to receive the heart chi of everyone in the universe, really. And one way to allow this to happen is to picture the two halves of the breastbone opening like a pair of sliding doors and revealing the inner sanctum in the core of the chest. You can see it like a cluster of precious stones surrounded by mythical, beautiful flowers, lotuses, and what have you, smelling such a fragrance that's impossible to describe. No perfumer who's ever lived could even get close to this. It's divine. And this has a light to it, a rose gold with flecks of subtle emerald and aqua and violet, and it's shining and radiating this beautiful fragrance, this energy from your heart around you, to everyone here in our circle, all the way around the world, and to everyone there is, all sentient beings of all sorts, not just people even. Ultimately, the presence informing them all. So there's this love that's coming from the core and going all the way to the furthest reaches of infinity and filling up the cells of the Tao itself. Simultaneously, you're being filled likewise. Now, the block that you've been laboring with until now, whatever it is, the the restraint on yourself from opening up and receiving and giving the most. Let's place that in the solar plexus area and see it, if you wouldn't mind, as not nasty, not horrible, but a black ball, a bit like the composition of Jupiter or Saturn. It's a sort of gaseous planet. It's a very small one, and it sits in the solar plexus area, and it's the conglomeration of all the residue of the lack of self-worth, the lack of self-belief, the lack of self-esteem, the lack of self-respect, the lack of self-approval, the lack of self-validation, and so on, the lack of self-confidence. And it wants to be freed from your orbit. It doesn't want to sit in your solar plexus anymore. It is gagging to get out of there. It is gagging to get out. It has been for years. And yet you felt obliged to house it. You felt you were under some obligation to keep it there. But it didn't ever want to be there. And it really wants to be set free now. It really does. And you can almost visualize yourself vomiting it out in a sort of psychic way. Picture the little black ball, this black ball, like a black planet, containing all the shit that you don't want anymore in your system, just being vomited out through your mouth and sailing off into the cosmos. But the amazing thing is that as it does that, as soon as it leaves your person, it transforms from a black ball into pure, beautiful, bright, golden white light and disperses as love, as energy, as healing energy for everyone and anyone. It's a good operation, that one. And notice, as you breathe a little bit more deeply and freely, that there is now the sensation of a kind of a space, a beautiful space. And yet, here you are sitting back behind it all, this big presence bearing witness to this going on. And in this state, when you clarify and state to yourself your intention for what you want to manifest over the next 60 to 90 days or so, 30 days, whatever it is, from this place, you are in accord with the power of destiny. You are in command of that aspect of Tao that we call destiny. And it's not an arrogant place to be. The Tao enjoys it. What they call the angel of destiny really loves to be directed. So take this opportunity from the back of you, where you're in a really still, centered place, to visualize yourself in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever feels right, somewhere in there. Sitting, looking back at you now, smiling at you reassuringly, as if to say, that thing you did, that accelerate the thrusting you did at that satsang, it worked. It worked. It worked. It works this shit. It really works. It's reassuring you that this is working. And this aspect of you, the smiling back at you, this future self, is smiling with a confidence and a radiance of someone who has reached that step that you want to reach, they come to that place, or that place has come to them, and they are basking in the joy of it all, in the joy of watching how Tao operates, how intention comes to pass as an outcome, and loving being alive. They're thrilling to the feeling of being alive. And they're smiling at you, and they're loving you with that smile. It's not just a smile from the face. Their whole body is smiling. And you notice that where their solar plexus is, there's definitely an emptiness there, a devoid of attention. There is no longer that fight of self-acceptance going on. That person accepts themselves. You can see it in their whole demeanor and their posture. They're fully accepting of who they are. And that's you. That's you. Now, from where you sit, looking at yourself on the other side of this passage of time, in the back of you, just take a moment to clarify, to indulge yourself in clarifying to yourself what you intend to make happen. And really, do not inhibit this by trying to make it a spiritual thing or a lofty thing or an aesthetic thing. It can be as petty, as narcissistic, as materialistic as you want. It really doesn't matter. Just take the moment to indulge in seeing it. Let it be. You'll know when it's the real one, when what you're seeing is bringing you joy rather than anxiety. Just see it, see it, see it. And most importantly, as you're seeing it, discern the sensations that being that way gives you, because that's really what you're manifesting, that state. And feel it in your back. Embody the sensations in your own being. Feel it in your back. Be in your back and feel this sensation in your back informing you. Now, rather than see this scenario out in a straight line in front of you, see it as a reality that exists all around you, but in a circle that's somewhere up to 90 days, light years, light days distant from you. So it's all around you, and it's spinning, it's orbiting, and it's sort of changing colours and focus and tone and shape as it moves, as things do. And you're aware that it's not about you moving towards it. You're aware that it's about you being big enough to embody it so that you encompass that circle within you. And once you do that, it is you. And then if it is you, it becomes what happens around you. To do so, we're going to do the backward flowing motion, as the old Taoists used to call it. And before we do, because this is going to require popping backwards out of the usual physical dimension, the sense of who you think you are most of the time, and spontaneously, instantaneously, being the big self, which is limitless and huge. It's limitless and intended to be. It's as if the front of you, the bit in the front, the face, the body, the way you present to the world, the way the world apparently perceives you, the way you perceive yourself doing that in the world, is merely the tiniest tip of the iceberg of who you are. The rest of which is behind you forever and ever, and getting bigger and bigger and bigger the further back you go, because it is nothing less than the Tao. And before we do so, just to maintain the integrity of your individuated presence, the Taoist prescribes to the following. There's a circuit of light as fine as a laser, optical fiber laser beam, that runs from the coccyx at the base of the spine, very fine line, up the rear of the spine, to the back of the neck, whence it goes up over the brain to the crown. From there, it moves down over the top of the brain, down behind your forehead, down behind your face, behind your throat, behind your chest, behind your belly, behind your pubic bone, down into the pelvic floor, and then hooks back up to join with the coccyx, so you've got a loop. And as you breathe in, activate awareness of the brilliance of the light running up the spine, the rear of the spine. As you breathe out, activate the awareness of the brilliance of the light running down the front part of the loop. Now the light is solid, it's moving 186,000 miles a second round and round this loop. And so to all intents and purposes, it's a solid loop of light. But you're activating a focus on the upward bit on the in-breath and the downward bit on the out-breath. And this is formulating the shape of your immortal spirit body. And the downward thrust of the light, the front part, purifies you constantly, purifies you of all illusion, of all bullshit, of all the pain, of all the blocks. The upward part refines you. It makes you finer and finer and finer and finer. And that means that you access and amplify all the qualities that go with fineness, your strength, your courage, your nobility, your honor, your integrity, your kindness, your generosity, your valor, and so on and so on and so on. Your beauty. So with every upthrust of the light, you're becoming more and more refined, like a beautiful diamond. And with every downthrust of the light, you're becoming more and more pure, real in other words. And now we're ready to go. So what we're going to do is just lean right back inside, right back, and keep leaning back until you pop through the back of your body and thrust backwards, like you're taking off in a rocket that thrusts you back in your seat. And keep thrusting backwards and backwards and back until you feel the momentum carrying the movement itself. And the further back you go, the faster you go. And the further and faster back you go, the bigger you get. So you're going back faster and faster and farther and farther and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Until you're feeling so big that it's as if there's nowhere else to go, because you are actually the Tao. You're encompassing all of it. And as big as the entire universe, yet also as big as the tiniest subatomic particle for you in this moment. And you notice that inside of you, down in your belly, as you look down within, you have the circle. You have the circle of the 90 light days away bit that's carrying in its orbit the scenario that is going to bring you that state that you require, along with all the opportunities and the wherewithal and the privileges that you need to facilitate the state, so it's not just imaginary. And you're encompassing that within you. And because of that, you're very big now, so the sensation will be subtle and it'll be way down there. Because of that, you're actually feeling every cell of your spirit body being impregnated, being imbued with the essence of that scenario that you're looking at. So the energy from it, the energy of these opportunities, the meetings with people, the things that are going to happen, the connections that are going to get made, the wherewithal, the resources that are going to be granted you, the progress that you're going to be making, the energy of all of that, the love in all of it, the excitement in all of it, the joy in all of it, the depth in all of it, the meaning in all of it, all of that, the energy of all of that is feeding every cell of your immortal spirit body, let alone your physical body. You are it. You're encompassing it now. It's within you. Very feminine way of doing it, this lateral circular way, rather than the masculine thrusting forward like an arrow. Yes, of course, we like to thrust forward, but just like when you're in a plane taking off on the runway, the faster it goes, the more you're thrust back in your seat. Conversely, the faster, if you want to go faster, you thrust back inside more. And that's what we've done. You thrust back far enough, you become the everything. And now, lest we forget, here we sit in the presence of each other. Let's see ourselves now as these huge, limitless presences all the way round, so to speak, the earth, the world, in another dimension, like massive angelic beings. Because when the one steps itself down into form, pretty much soon after it's gone from being the one into the many. Its first stage, the first step, is like the angel realm, for want of a better expression. So let us see ourselves now as these angelic beings, if you like, holding hands in a circle all the way around the dimension that houses the world of humans. and all who sail with them. And be aware that right now on the planet, as it spins in our midst, there is potential for quite a few dangers and crises and so on and so forth. There's also the opportunity for peace to break out in a big way, and for us to evolve into the next stage collectively as well as individually. And this is important for each of us, because however much progress you make, if it all went up in a big bang because they lost their heads over the situation that's going on, it wouldn't do much good. So it's important now for us to deploy our collective force to transmit a concentrated wave of peacefulness and happiness, happy chi, healing chi, meaning that a chi that restores things to a state of balance, a chi that harmonizes and causes serenity and the sense that it's all right, there's no need to fight or strive, or let's just be relaxed and enjoy being here, and then we'll all cooperate with each other much better. And see it happening down there, see it happening on the earth plane, see people somehow being affected by this, that we're sending this wave, and it's softening the hearts of everybody. And specifically at this point in time, the major players in the geopolitical setup, and the people under them and the people under them and all the people that could trigger off an unexpected scenario, situation, an incident that could be inflammatory. See that being all soothed away. So then he feels all right, just being alive. No need to make drama, no need to rock the boat. Let's just enjoy being here while we can. And see it like as if people stopping each other on the street, because you do see it happening more and more all the time anyway, and go, you know what, I love being alive, and it's not even like anything's changed or anything particularly going on. I just love being alive, don't you? And the other person goes, yeah, I really do. Instead of the conversation that might have happened a while ago, it's like, nah, it's Monday, I don't really know, I hate all this. People suddenly waking up to their beautiful angelic nature. See it. Because you see it, we see it collectively. So it will be. And see yourself, that future you, the one that's smiling at you there from over the apparent divide. See that future self out there, down there, on the planet, in the world, looking at you, smiling at you, winking at you, gesturing at you. Yeah, we're doing it, it's happening. And see that future self, loving it to the full, every single aspect of it, and just everything your future self touches just turns to gold. You know that feeling where it all just moves with just utter elegance. See it. And now draw all the energy that you're getting off that picture back into your heart. Draw it back in, without reducing the power of it in what we're doing. You're just gathering it. And by gathering it, you're gathering the whole manifestation into yourself, whence it can grow and blossom in real time. And we now need to, what's the word? Not diminish or reduce ourselves, because that is the opposite of what we want. We now need to inhabit the illusion of material worldly life again, yet we're really fully entitled to maintain as much contact as we feel we want with this huge background presence that is us behind us. So with awareness of the big background presence that you really are, and the front of you just being the tip of the iceberg, allow yourself to be in your physical back now. As if the whole universe is now sitting in your back. Beautiful, beautiful image. The entire universe sits in your back right now. And you are accommodating existence within in the most gracious, beautiful, benign, beneficent, glorious way. Here you are doing it. Ready to begin this next accelerated phase of progress. And before opening your eyes, just repeat after me in your head or out loud if you can, as talking to the big presence that is behind you, all around you, within everyone, behind everyone, within everyone, this huge presence that is the Tao. you're saying to it, accelerate the process now. Accelerate the process now. Accelerate the process now. Get back, and it is done. The magic has been done, and now it's time to open your eyes, wriggle your toes, wriggle your nose, and do all that kind of stuff, and see if we've got any questions, and pass this over to the glorious Sue, producer in the north of Britain, to facilitate us a little bit here. Over to you.
Hello.
Hi.
Alrighty. The first question today is from Penny, who I think is in Luxembourg. And Penny says, I have been procrastinating over divorcing my absent husband, who now has cancer and is using emotional blackmail. I need help.
Yes. Well, you think you need help, Penny, but actually all the help you need will come to you. It's already, as soon as you accept that everything is as it's meant to be, however nasty it looks, however difficult it looks, as soon as you accept that this is meant to be happening this way, this is the way the Tao's rolling, the help that you need will then start flowing towards you. So I would imagine that your intention would be to see yourself free of that constriction without having to determine whether that means that you've divorced him or not divorced him. It might well be that your heart tells you that it's your dharma, it's your path to go and help him and to nurse him through that passage of leaving the body. It might be your destiny to do that. You don't know, I don't know, nobody knows until it sort of starts shaping up. But it doesn't matter which it is, actually. What does matter is that you manifest the freedom you want to feel in your heart to really be your true self rather than have to be pretending or doing something to please somebody you don't want to do. And that if it turns out that it's not for you to go and help him like that you'll be able to communicate that in a way that is acceptable and healing for him as opposed to the opposite. Because I know from experience, actually, that it's a lot easier going through the time process without someone there who loves you a lot, who's going to be heartbroken when you die, because there's less drama about it. Or, going through it on your own isn't really much of a drama, it's just natural. So actually, he'd probably be better off without you there. It'd be easier for him. But that's not for us to talk about, because none of us got a clue. I mean, I could go psychic on it for you and see what I saw, but it would be pointless. There's no point. The point is, you want to be in a feeling of freedom and fulfillment and feeling beautiful and huge as you really are and ought to be. And whichever way it's going to go, if that's your manifestation, if that's your intention, rather, that's what will manifest one way or the other. I hope that was clear enough to be helpful for you. And I really wish you a miracle, which I believe you will get. It says what it's going to be, but you will get one.
Okay, we have a question from Lana now. Thank you to you, Doc, and to all these wonderful beings, Sue and Malkit and Sarah and David and so many others who make a priority of connecting with the Tao and therefore bringing about this wonderful experience week after week. My question is about my body. I experience fibromyalgia and other symptoms. I know that greatly reducing carbs can help me, yet I seem to cling to them. I really need to set myself free. Your best guidance, please.
Lana, first of all, yeah, I'm right with you there. I felt that when you said that about everybody by mentioning their names. It was really, really lovely. I feel the same. What a beautiful thing that we come together like this. And again, thank you and everybody for it. How to deal with the self? Well, I tell you what, the you can give up things, or you can do things, or have medicines, or do whatever. But the power, the healing power, actually comes from intending yourself into the state you want to be in. It really does. I mean, I work healing people for like nearly 20 years, and nearly 500,000 people, 500,000 treatments in that time, and loads since as well. But I know I've seen it again and again and again and again. It's nothing to do with, or very little to do with, what goes in or comes out, or what you do or what you don't do. It's totally to do though with that intention being clear. And then the body just wants to eat differently. So rather than force it from the outside, you change its place on the inside. It will then move its behavior spontaneously without you having to force it. Yeah, I mean, nothing's black or white, so you might use a little bit of willpower here and there, but it might be difficult. So what you need to do is to visualize yourself looking what you want to look like: healthy, hale, hearty, strong, robust, energized, full of stamina and zest and enthusiasm. Walking, or start off walking up a mountain, but walking incredibly fast without any effort at all. In fact, you can't contain yourself, and you're actually now running up the mountain. It's a big mountain too. And with every step you take up the mountain as you run along, you're going farther and faster. So each step, like a bionic woman, is propelling you 6 meters, 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters, 50 meters, and so on, accelerating with every step. So you're going well over 100 miles an hour by now. It's an amazing thing to watch. You're watching it from down the bottom of the mountain. You're actually watching it from a GoPro camera on your helmet as you're running and the whole bit. And you're really like, it's amazing. And you can feel it in your legs. You can feel it in your arms. The strength, superhuman strength. And you get to the top of the mountain, you put your hands up in the air in a gesture of triumph, and you roar with a roar of triumph. I've done it. If you can visualize that, not even for that long really, just for a couple of seconds, about 3-4 times a day, but sincerely, so you bring your full presence to bear on doing so, you will find that within no more than, I don't put a limit on it, you'll start very soon noticing yourself wanting to move differently, exercise differently, more in a more relaxed or better way. Or you'll notice you won't want to eat carbohydrates. You'll wish to eschew carbohydrates more and more of the time, and find yourself naturally be drawn to the foods that are going to serve you best. And I think you might also want to go visit a really good homeopath too, because someone really brilliant, who's got the magic, can prescribe just one pill to take once at the right potency, and that can completely and utterly put you in total charge of yourself and find it totally easy to do whatever it is you feel that you need to do. I hope that helps. Good luck with it, Laura. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
This next one is from Jen, who was today gifted a beautiful eagle feather. She says, I don't know much about totem medicine, but I feel there's something important here, as there is a feeling of intuitive, hey, pay attention about this. Any thoughts?
Oh, many. Well, yeah, you know, when I lived with the TAOIST tribe, the different kinds of medicine were based on the various animals, and the idea was that, oh yeah, it was like, I come and see my friend Sonny Spruce and I'm all freaked out because Steven Seagal, the film guy, the Aikido, he was an Aikido teacher at that point. Well, he was a film guy, but he did a teacher. Had moved to town, and everyone was saying they were going to go to him instead of coming to me, and I wasn't going to make a living, and all that bullshit. And he said, you know, some days you've got to fly up high in the sky like an eagle, and then you see everything very, very, very clearly. Other days you come back down and you're a little desert dog, or whatever those things are called. I can't remember what they're called now, those gopher things. And you just see little bits of what you need to look at, and you focus, and you've got to be able to do it. Just go from one to the other. And when I got given an eagle feather, and what it did for me, I remember, or the energy of it, it gave me that ability to soar really, really high and have huge panoramic view. And that is what I believe it would do for you. It's a symbol of that coming, of that capacity to be able to broad view everything, so that you've got the wisdom that comes with perspective, and from that will come the accelerated thrust that you can trust.
Sarah, I think this is Sarah in Houston, Texas, says, thank you, awesome Dr. Stephen, a wonderful session. A question, sometimes when I am on the meditation I feel heaviness in the back of my head and neck. Why?
Okay. Hey Sarah, lovely to have you here. And my blessings to Houston and everyone in the love that city. The heaviness in the back of the head and the back of the neck indicates you need to lengthen there more. So that idea that there's a silver thread attached to the crown of your head and it's pulled up to the ceiling to give you length there. But the thing is, it's got to be done in conjunction with the back being relaxed and not arched. It's very important not to arch the back, and the breastbone being kind of pushed up a little bit. And then, because that, excuse me, that holds you steady, and it's, once the neck's lengthened, then to work on softening it a bit. So all this is showing is the back of the neck area is a lot of gallbladder meridian points, and it's where we control reality from. You know, it's like where you turn your head, you've got control of. And when the gallbladder overheats, usually through overheating of the liver, usually which comes from being frustrated and trying to get your own way too much and not being able to get it, getting pissed off and all the rest of it. I'm not saying this is your thing, but this is the general setup usually, or from diet or from whatever else. The heat goes into the gallbladder channel, goes up to the back of the back of the neck feels heavy, the back of the head feels heavy. So by relaxing it conversely and softening it, you are able to let go of controlling things quite so much. You're able to give the Tao its head, so to speak, and let it perform for you. Because now we've set our intention, the more space we give to the Tao to do whatever it wants, the more fun it will have and will have through us. The more beautifully it will shape things for us. So it's time to allow it to come to us, within us, you know, as we were just doing it. You know that quote of Rumi, the Sufi dude, it's, you know, that which I seek seeks me also. That which you see seeks you also. It's within you. I hope that was of some help.
This is from Malkit. Hi Stephen, as always a beautiful satsang and meditation. I really love them. I'm doing Tai Chi practice along with School for Warriors, but I wanted to ask you whether the healing aspect increases exponentially if meditation is also done. I do find it difficult to meditate as my mind does wander off. Can you suggest an easier way of meditating? Transmitting healing really interests me and I want to develop it. Love, Malkit.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, thank you. Firstly, it was lovely that you're here and your beautiful, supportive energy. I mean, School for Warriors is that really. I mean, what we just done is that. Like, what do you mean? How, a good way. All right. So, like, standing up with your feet together. I meditate standing every morning at the end of my qigong sequence, and before I start the martial art forms, I meditate. And I do it standing with my feet together, my knees not bent, but not locked particularly either. Just simply because it's more dynamic, and I like being dynamic. I get off on that vibe when I'm meditating rather than sitting. I like sitting, it's good as well. It's easy for me to meditate sitting, it's easier. I like standing because it's a little bit more active somehow, more challenging. So you stand with your feet together and you put your arms as if holding a bale of cotton to your chest. You can't quite reach round, so your hands not touching. And you have to really extend the circle of your arms to hold this big bale of cotton to you. And it could be a bale of silk, it doesn't have to be cotton, you don't like cotton, whatever you want it to be really. It could even be polyester, and while doing that, you use the counterbalance of your hands being out in front of you to lean back against. So you kind of thrust back against the weight of your outstretched arms, sort of thing. You check very quickly that your body is relatively relaxed. You check your posture. Once you're used to it, as you know from School for Warriors, it only takes a second. Check your breathing, make sure everything's flowing. You relax your heart area. You sync yourself, keep coming into the back, make sure your mind's in the back of the head as well. And you just spend, like, you could do that, I could elaborate on this forever, but just for now, you just spend, let's say, 3 seconds 4 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever feels right, not much more, in pure consciousness, not thinking anything. In fact, if you can manage a couple of seconds at that, that's good. So that's all we need. It's all we need. We need to touch base with that pure consciousness for a millisecond even, once a day. A few seconds is better, a few minutes even, you can do it even better. You can do more because you feel like it, brilliant. But you only need it for a moment because it doesn't exist out in linear, sorry, the big self exists behind time. And that's what the idea of sinking back is all about. It doesn't need like a period of time to be in, to connect. You just need to connect with it. And it only takes a split second to do that, to pierce through the veil. So start like that on a real minimum amount and kind of stop yourself from trying to do more. And that will be enough. It will be enough. So you don't have to feel like you're missing out. And you'll notice that bit by bit, you'll really want to stand there for a little bit longer. And occasionally let yourself do that. And occasionally let yourself do even a little bit more until eventually you'll find that either sitting, standing, or doing whatever you like, you're able to sort of dwell in this pure consciousness for a sizable length of time, but only because you feel like it. You don't have to do it otherwise. And the rest of the time, while you're remember that this standing or sitting meditation, or even the Tai Chi meditation, is not just about that. That's just practicing it. The point about it is that you're able to do it all the time. So when you're on the phone to people, when you're walking down the street, when you're walking into a shop, when you're buying something, when you're shaking hands with someone, when you're dealing with crisis, whatever it is, you're meditating. You're in the back, you're breathing, and you're observing. You're meditating. So that's the answer I have for you. I do feel that I've really got to draw the proceedings to a swift close now, I'm afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm just, alas, I could go on for ages, but Anthony's waiting for me at the Highgate Egg, and it's very important that I get there.
Okay. Well, you did have several other questions and comments, but
go on.
If you're drawing
Can we take one more? Can we take one more? Do this the last one now.
Well, I literally will just take the next one down the list, which is from Ross. Thank you again for the weekly renewal. I just wanted to ask about the Ganesh mantra. His presence has been blessing my life lately, and I'd like to honour that aspect of the Tao. Any suggestions?
Yes. Hello, Ross. I would, what, to learn it? Well, connected. If you, I think you can get it for free. I'm sure you can. If you search for Barefoot and Leakster, Leakster, Barefoot and Leakster, and it's a song called Connected. Oh, no, it's not. It's called, hang on, what is it called? Higher Self or something. Maybe Higher Self. But anyway, oh, fuck it, I forget that. Go to YouTube and search for the Ganesh chant, and you'll find it, that one on there. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha, rather, which means, Ganesh, you look damn cool in those threads you're rocking tonight, or something like that. I can't really remember, but it's just this way of saying hello to the elephant god. And when you're doing it, the deal is to feel it in your back. So you embody the god that you're chanting to in the back of you. So it becomes the background presence. So you're putting a face on the background presence. And it's that one. It happens to be the elephant god one. And the amazing thing about Ganesh is that occasionally, when you really need it, it seems to just suddenly, spontaneously appear. I've experienced it. And it moves you quantum through situations, and you can't believe how you got to where you are. How did that happen? I've had it a few times in my life. Ganesh I love Ganesh, actually. But always we remember that it's not really that. I mean, it's just a form. It's just a form to help us sometimes. With our connection, with our relationship, the one relationship with the big one. And on that note, it's been totally lovely. Thank you so much for being here. And come next week. It's going to get better and better and better and better. And bless all your hearts. And I love you. And that's it. Magic, mate. It's going to happen. They're all pain, suffering, be dispelled. felt pain and suffering.